We are the ones who don't know what we're fighting for. Give us a gun and send us all off to war. We are the ones who grow up in violent homes. We are the ones who don't know what's right or wrong. I know. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. No more. We are the ones who don't know why we're losing score. Give them a badge so they could send us to the morgue. We are the ones who are scared to walk out the door. We are the ones who don't know what we're dying for. I know. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck now. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. No. Get off his fucking neck. Oh, that makes you know he can't fucking breathe. So that makes you know we are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck now. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. No.
This podcast features adult subject matter, adult language, and things not meant for children to hear. Viewer discretion is advised. You've been warned. To paraphrase the great Busta Rhymes in his Grammy award-winning song, "Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Can See," if it's Thursday. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of appropriate ages, to the latest episode of the I Am No Joe podcast, the show where every armchair quarterback can feel like Eddie Bravo. Today, as like most days, I have got the other half of the show here with me, Golftee Vapes. I, of course, am your hostess with the mostest, Meter. Meter does many things if you're nasty. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We have got an interesting one here. As you might have guessed by the title, we are still balls deep in the 4-week stretch of hangover cards in between pay-per-views. Luckily, UFC 314 is just around the corner in a couple weeks. But before we get there, we have still got plenty to talk about this fine evening. But before we get into all that, first and foremost, how you doing over there, Golftee?
Gotta remember to hit the fucking unmute button on here. Other than that, we're fucking fantastic. This week's card is actually better than the last 2 weeks, which is great because it means I'll actually tune in and watch. I'm not gonna lie. The only fight I caught last week was the main event, and that's because I went, oh yeah, the fights are on. What does that tell you about a card when you forget that there's even a fucking card going on, even though we talked about it 2 days prior.
Oh yeah. Well, there was what, 12 or 13 fights on the card, and I think
Yeah.
they came out with like 7 or 8 finishes, and I put up 3 shorts for finishes worth talking about last weekend.
I mean, the only fucking thing that might have been worthwhile watching, other than watching Leon obviously get wrecked because all you have to do is wrestle him, is I missed the chance of watching Molly finally hang them up so we don't have to see her in there anymore.
It, like, Ray Charles saw that coming. Like, to her credit, Tianara told Molly, you should not have accepted this fight on short notice. This is not good for you. You can go to sleep or you can tap, but you will not come out of this with a victory. And she grabbed her and she wrapped her the fuck up and she said, you can go to sleep or tap. And Molly went, I'll just call it a night.
Yeah. I mean, I went back and watched it. It wasn't like the fight was that fucking long.
No, it was not. No, but I absolutely gave Tianara her flowers afterwards because she fucking Babe Ruthed her shot on short notice, and she did it so well that Molly hung her gloves up afterwards. So had to give Tianara her credit there.
It's a
But
fucking weird card.
absolutely. That being said, though, we are going to kick things off the way we like to around here with a little bit of news and recent events, fight cancellations, fight confirmations, things of relevant news to you in the fight world we feel you should know about that have trickled down the MMA pipeline since we saw you wonderful folks last. Obviously, first and foremost, we are going to mention after getting the submission of her life literally given to her last week, and Molly McCann officially hung up her gloves and retired from MMA at a total record of 14-8. Obviously not always how you want to see him go out, but this is one of those circumstances where a fighter decides of her own recognizance they're going to hang this up and not do it anymore, while they are still able to sign their own signature legibly and tie their own shoes. I would always rather that than the alternative, so I will absolutely tip my cap. As Molly herself said, not bad for a lesbian they found working at Subway, huh?
To be fair, no, she really wasn't that bad.
No, she was
We've
not. She
definitely
did a
seen
hell of a
worse.
lot better. Yeah, she did a hell of a lot better than a lot of others have, for damn sure.
And a lot better than a lot that are still hanging on are doing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, tip of the cap. I'm sure Molly's going to have plenty to do over in England after she is not fighting anymore. So I'm sure she's going to be just fucking fine. She's not going back to Subway. That part of her career is done. Looking forward though here, pretty interesting one going forward. May the 4th, the Tokyo Dome in Japan, Ryzen is going to be kicking off their heavyweight Grand Prix. Apparently everybody is getting in on the Grand Prix action except for the UFC right now. So Ryzen, as far as I'm aware, is the only one doing a heavyweight Grand Prix, which I am kind of interested in, even if there is a good chance it may or not be valid fights. I say with air quotes for those of you just listening, because it is Ryzen and there has been fuckery afoot in the past, to say it politely. But this still has pretty interesting repercussions here. Looking a little further than that, UFC Vegas 106 will be taking place May 31st. Will be headlined as of yesterday officially by Aaron Blanchfield versus Macy Barber. They are basically whittling down the top of the stack to start lining up contenders once the belt gets back into play, potentially this summer. Interesting to see which one of those ladies comes out on top. Kind of curious how they managed to get Macy into not only a top contender fight, but put her in another main event after the last fucking shit show. But, UFC is going to UFC. We'll see how it turns out. On the other hand, the following week, June 7th in Newark, New Jersey, from UFC 316, we just got a very nice, actually rebooking, because it was originally booked once, but they had to scrap it because of injuries. Joshua Van taking on Bruno the Pitbull Silva. Very, very interesting matchup to see those two young men. Josh Van has been on a hell of a fucking run since his hiccup. Curious to see how this matchup plays out, because these two originally had some beef. So I'm curious to see if it's going to reignite once this is officially official now being. We'll see. A couple of interesting ones here to round it out. First and foremost, was confirmed from both sides by Ariel Helwani this afternoon. Ryan Bader has officially been released from his PFL contract with one fight still left to go. He said that he is not done with the combat sports world altogether, but for right now, he's done fighting, and he and his team both came to an agreement with PFL that they would release him with that one fight left, and it would just get kind of washed off and called good. So he is technically a free agent now. What that means going forward and why he decided he needed his release and they were willing to grant it to him so easily leaves a lot to wonder. Leaves a lot to wonder for sure, but we'll see how that plays out. Now, on the other side of that, we did get the official announcement today via social media that though her last fight was in 2022, she didn't get a chance to lay her gloves down then because she didn't think it would be her last fight, but she is now a full-time career pilot, and Antonina Shevchenko has officially retired from MMA. Antonina leaves with a total record of 10-4, still better than a lot of the girls that are hanging on now, like TJ mentioned. But like I said, she is a full-time pilot now. And if you've been following her on social media, she'd been spending more time flying than training for some time now and been getting gradually bigger planes and longer flights and more significant flights and more pilot licenses. And this was, you could kind of see the writing on the wall here. Like, she had fun fighting. She did a whole hell of a lot in her fucking career. World Muay Thai champion. Like, she's got several belts and fucking trophies that her name on it that no one can ever fucking take away. This is, again, one of those situations where she will be absolutely fine once she's done fighting because she already has herself a full-time career, which is why she's retiring from MMA. So, again, tip of the cap to Antonina Shevchenko. She had a hell of a fucking run, but she is calling it quits for her career as of now.
Good for her. Go from fucking full-time fighter to mom to
yeah,
full
full-time pilot now.
And like you said, you look at her social medias, some of the shit that she's flying and where she's flying to.
It's cool.
Even watching her social media way back in the day when she was just getting it and taking lessons in the little Cessnas and things like that. It's fucking cool to see that progression in just a matter of 3-4 years.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, this is one of those where nobody should feel bad for her at all. She's going to be just fine. She's literally doing her newfound love as a career now, which she obviously fell out of love with fighting and fell in love with flying. And now she's doing that for her career. So that's what you want to see fighters do when they transition out. She's absolutely got a future and a retirement plan set up. So A-okay for Shevchenko. That being said, last minute announcement we just got this afternoon here. May 2nd, making his debut with Karate Combat will be Mohamed Mokayev. His opponent has yet to be announced. They just announced that they officially signed him and that he will be making his debut on that May 2nd card. Going to be interesting to see what he can do over there because he was a good fighter outside of his shenanigans outside of the octagon, and realistically, had that situation with Manel Kopp not gone down the way it did, he would probably realistically be fighting for the belt next. Like, in my opinion, he was on track. He was doing the work. He had shown the skills, and then he made a stupid fucking mistake. And to his credit, he has apologized and he has gone forward and done nothing but win since then. And I have a feeling that he's going to do pretty good things over in Karate Combat because, to their credit, pretty much everyone that Karate Combat has picked up from the UFC has done spectacular. If you have not seen any of Robelis Despaign's fucking incredible sub 30-second fucking knockouts that he's now got multiple of over in Karate Combat, take a few minutes once the show's over and just go watch some highlights because holy shit, are ex-UFC fighters doing spectacular over there right now.
Yeah, you can even go as far as to say, look at what Sam Alvey's done over there, which is fucking crazy.
Dude, Smiling Sam is crushing over there. The dude set the record for the longest active losing streak in the UFC and then went to Karate Combat and literally changed fucking everything. So I don't even know what to say. Karate Combat's got something special going on in that pit. I'm here for it.
Yeah, they don't have to worry about takedowns.
Yeah, no shit. No shit. Oh, but that being said, couple of more somber news, unfortunately, to close the show out, because though they might not be the prettiest, I do feel that it is relevant that people know about it here. The first one, if you've been living under a rock the last week, you might not have heard, but we did officially get the final sentencing of Cain Velasquez this week. The judge literally cried while sentencing him, saying, and I quote, "Mr. Velasquez is clearly no threat to the public, and it pains me to make this decision, but the sentence has to be carried out." Cain apologized for his actions, took responsibility for what he did. The judge sentenced him to 5 years in prison. Essentially, with good behavior, he can be out in 2 years and change, and there's no doubt in my mind he will have good behavior while he's in there.
It should be shorter than that though, because they're including his time served, which also includes the house arrest. Well, he
See,
was
I
out.
didn't,
He
I
was
didn't hear
actually
that.
on a house arrest.
Yeah, while he was doing his coaching and shit. I didn't hear that
So
they did
in
his time served. So
in
yeah, then
total
he will be on this.
time served in total, because when this all started was 2022. He's got 3
Yeah.
years time served. So at that point, based on the California Board of Paroles, he should be eligible for parole the second he steps foot in there.
So yeah, so he might not have to spend much time actually in lockup at all, which is even fucking better. I didn't realize they had given him credit for time served. I didn't see that in the article I read. That's even fucking better. That's even fucking better.
I to be honest, I hope we see him out inside of 6 months.
Like the fact that the judge cried while they sentenced him should tell you everything you need to know about this case. Like, Cain understands he
100%.
made a mistake, but the mitigating circumstances that led to that mistake are understandable by anyone who reads them, in my opinion. So, yeah, that makes it even better. So hopefully Cain is back at it, back to somewhat quote unquote normal life sooner rather than later. That's even cooler. The last one I've got here, Nevada State Athletic Commission made their official decisions this week. Derek Minner has officially received a 39-month suspension for not disclosing the injury he had when he fought Nerlin Bekoff. Basically, it's retroactive, so he is eligible to fight as of, I believe, April 5th. And he's retired since then, so he's not going to be fighting, but he would be eligible to get right back in there if he wanted to, unfortunately. The other half of that is that Jeff Molina has officially been given a 3-year suspension for betting on the Derek Minner fight, even though Jeff Molina has come out and said that he had bets on both sides of that fight and a bet on the card as a whole. There's, I don't know, there's weird information coming out from Jeff Molina and other people who are saying they knew. I will put it that way. But we do know that either way, Molina is officially suspended again retroactively for 3 years. I believe he is eligible again in October. We will see if he catches another fight or not. But and seeing as how these two have both officially now been sentenced by the Nevada State Athletic Commission, and the James Krause case is officially federal, this will obviously be going in towards that as well. Where that comes out, or if we hear anything more pertaining to that anytime soon, I can't say for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if we hear something on that coming out after this being decided as well in the news really, really soon. That being said, that's all I've got for news over here. You got anything over there that I might have missed this week?
I don't think you missed it. You did mention Ryan Bader leaving PFL, right?
Yeah, they let him out with
Or
one fight
fucking-
left on his contract still.
Makes me wonder, where is he going? Because I know he ain't coming back to the UFC.
Yeah, no, that's what I said. There's no way the UFC brings him back on, but what would be going on behind the scenes with a fight left on his contract that he would be able to say, hey, just let me go, and they're just going to say, okay, when they're fighting for Aaron Pico, tooth, claw, and fucking nail right now?
And the only reason they're fighting for Pico is because the UFC wants him.
Yeah, and they didn't think the UFC wanted Pitbull, so they let him go immediately, and then he got scooped up. So it makes you wonder what the hell's going on with Bader behind the scenes. Like, I don't think it's a retirement thing, but I'm wondering if he might be injured, like a surgery requiring injury that's fairly significant.
Well, I wouldn't doubt it because he was, to be honest, his last couple good years there, he looked like he was juiced out of his gills. And usually people that are fucking juiced out of their gills have a lot of fucking injuries. And then once they come off that shit, they're like, oh fuck, I'm fucked up.
Yep, the body's riddled and it doesn't recover the way that it used to while they were on the sauce. And then, yeah, we've
Maybe
seen
it's
it
time he
time
goes
and time
down and gets
again.
some of that stem cell therapy down in fucking Mexico or Colombia or wherever the fuck they're doing it now.
Either that or he's going to Johnny Hendricks. We're going to see Ryan Bader walking around at 153 pounds in a couple of weeks while he's not fighting anymore.
That'd be weird.
It sure fucking would, but there's precedent.
Yeah, this is true.
There is precedent for it. So stranger things have happened. All right. Well, then in that case, before I forget once again, that'll bring us into the fight menu for this week, the combat sports menu for the weekend. Even though we do the show primarily around the UFC's calendar, so does every other major fight organization in the world, and they are not the only ones that we talk about. So just to keep you abreast of everything going on this weekend, starting off, as is more often than not the case, first thing, bright and fucking early tomorrow morning, 8:30 a.m. Eastern, 7:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. One Friday Fights number 102. This one will be over on YouTube. I love when they do this. There's only 2 MMA fights on the card, and they're opening the card with it. And then it's 10 MMA fights, or excuse me, 10 Muay Thai fights, rather, in MMA gloves. I apologize. If you have not watched the one Muay Thai fights in MMA gloves, it is fucking spectacular because an MMA glove don't stop an elbow. But man, those fights get fucking awesome over there. So if you need combat with coffee in the morning, one has you covered. Tomorrow evening, on the other side of things, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central Standard, LFA number 205. This is one of the generally Brazilian, somewhat American organizations here that generally, when you get to the top of that league, you get a call from the UFC or from ONE or from PFL, from the top organizations. There are a couple of names on this card that the average casual will still recognize. Hardcores will recognize several on here, but there are a couple of belts on the line. So fun Friday night to be had. Bouncing over to Saturday, kicking off at 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time is UFC Fight Night Mexico City, Moreno versus Ursig. This one has a whole bunch that we're going to talk about in just a little bit on it here. But if that is not all you require for the weekend, kicking off at 11 p.m. Saturday evening, 10 p.m. Central Standard Time, Ryzen number 50. This one has several names that the average casual will recognize. Hardcore will recognize probably a half a dozen names on this one or so. 2 belts on the line as well to round out your Saturday evening. Plenty of combat sports to keep you occupied. This would normally be, oh, hang on, we got spinning wheels over here. Let me make sure it's just on my end.
Looks like it's still going from what I see.
Okay. I just had a spinning wheel for a second. And like I mentioned in the chat, if I didn't say it earlier, I apologize. The broadcast computer has been acting screwy the last couple of days. I haven't figured out why just yet. So if for some reason this cuts out, this thing has restarted a couple of times today. I apologize. As soon as it boots up, we will get right back to it and wrap the show up. But just so everybody knows, this thing is on the fritz at the moment. So that being said, life happens. We understand. So we don't have the kid with us this week to give us all the ins and outs and all the oohs and ahs and the names that are going to be names before they get to be names in the cans and contender segment. But there are still several fights on this card that both Golftee and I are very interested in. So Golftee, I will give you the lead off here if you would like to start talking about this particular UFC card that we are doing this show around.
Oh, I'll take the lead. That's fine. We can do that. To start off with, there is a lot of garbage on this card. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but there are a few diamonds in the rough, is what I'll call them. And I call them diamonds very loosely. I'm thinking more along the lines of like cubic zirconia in the rough. So not quite a diamond, but it looks like a good polished turd sometimes. Um, One, we were talking about it earlier. We get the return of Lupe Godinez, who we haven't seen in a while, which that's exciting. And for Mexican Independence Day card, it's fucking great one to add to it. Um, I think the saddest part of this is they follow up one of the greatest Mexican Independence Day cards with a subpar card. Granted, to their credit, it was in the fucking sphere, so they had to load the shit out of the card, and that's where we got fucking Marab becoming Mexican for a day, which was fucking great. But either way, there is a couple of folks on here who I'm genuinely excited to see how they do, and genuinely excited to root against. One, Vincent Morales, please go in there and hit Raul Rosas Jr. with a fucking frying pan on both sides of his head, so that way it pops that front part out so a little bit, so it doesn't look like he ran into a parked vehicle with his face. And also, fuck Raul Rosas Jr. I know if Christian was here tonight, he would be singing his praises and walking him, but you know, we're not gonna let that happen today. Or
No,
maybe
they got beef. They got real life beef. Christian has a real life beef with Raul Rosas Jr. So it's fucked that guy forever now.
fair enough. All right, well, that's a win-win. I am excited to see and there's one other one on here that I was excited to see here, and that is I'm praying for the resurgence of Kelvin Gastelum this weekend. I am praying hard for the resurgence of Kelvin Gastelum. I hope he has his shit back together and he is ready to do fucking work. Because I do not want to see another Joe Pyfer win. I just don't want to. The co-main event has fireworks written all over it because there's Drew Dober involved. And if there's any fight on this card that tells me to tell somebody to come watch the fights, it's this fucking fight for sure, because it's going to be fucking wild. Well, anything with Drew Dober is fucking wild because he's going out on his shield or he's taking somebody out with the knife, one of the two. There's no in between with him. CJ Vergara and Edgar Chairez, I think that's also going to be a sneaky little fight that may be pretty good there. But that's in my Schrodinger's contender fight because I'm not exactly sure whether they're going to be able to put out in that premier prelim spot. One I want to throw out because I don't think it needs to be there, and that's Rafa Garcia and Vince Pichel. Pichel has been on just an absolute shit show. He looked like he had potential at one point with that giant tonsilic ass mustache, but I think most of him was riding on that mustache, not mostly his fucking MMA ability. I think it was mostly look at that big old fuzzy caterpillar crawling across his lip. And to be honest, Rafa Garcia has not shown me anything that says he's ever going to be anything more than I'll call him a bottom of the road fucking roadblock for people going up. Like we don't see him break into the rankings. Anytime he gets a legitimately tough test, he gets beat. And I say legitimately tough test. Not all of them have been legitimately tough. Sometimes he just gets beat by people that really shouldn't fucking even be in the UFC either. I mean, his last notable win was fucking Clay Guida, and Clay Guida has been on his way out the door for like 4 fucking years. Oh, that as a whole, throw that fight right in the fucking trash there. I'm not on the Jamal Emmers train. I will put that out there. I don't think he's worth the hype that he's gotten. And then the worst fight you could possibly open a card with, Austin Hubbard and Marco Medeiros. Why is this here other than contractual obligations to offer fighters fights? But to be honest, the main event is completely worth fucking watching. You have Brandon Moreno back at it again. You have Steve Erceg back at it again. Steve's had some tough fucking tests since getting that shot at a title really fucking early in his career. The unfortunate part is they put him up against some fucking nasty killers. I mean, he got knocked KO'd by fucking Kai Kara France in his last fucking fight out. I mean, he had to fight Pantoja on short fucking notice. He was only 4 fights into the UFC at that point. This will be his 7th fucking fight in the UFC, and he's still fighting absolute killers. The dude's a fucking animal. You don't just get up there like that for no fucking reason. I think Brandon Moreno better not take him fucking lightly. The only reason Steve Erceg got KO'd against Kai Kara France is I just caught him off guard. Steve generally isn't that sloppy. I mean, he went fucking 5 rounds with fucking Pantoja. 5 fucking rounds with Pantoja, which is fucking wild when you think about it. But that fight is definitely contender all over it. And to be honest, I think if Brandon Moreno can put fucking Steve Erceg away in a dominant fashion, he might get another shot at the title. And the same goes for Erceg. You fucking beat the brakes off of Brandon Moreno right there, you're right back in that fucking mix of, hey, let's get you back up to the top placement there and put you up for another shot at the belt, this time on a full camp. But yeah, that to be honest, the main fight on this is the saving grace of this entire fucking card.
Yeah, this is, I will say, from a business standpoint, I always try and give the UFC credit for this. This is one of those situations where they've got a road show and they filled the fucking card top to bottom as much as they possibly fucking could with local or locally relevant talent. And granted, it's a little easier when they go to Mexico because there are a lot of fucking excellent Mexican fighters in the UFC, but they did a fairly decent job stacking this card, in my opinion. Here, this is probably the best of the hangover cards in this stretch that we are stuck with coming up this weekend for damn sure. There's absolutely some turds in this. There are some fucking contractual obligations. There's no reason for that opening fight. I agree. Throw that motherfucker right out. We don't need Rafa Garcia versus Pichel. You can throw that the fuck out, trims this card down. 2 fights more makes it that much more palatable, in my opinion. But I will say, TJ mentioned it. I will fucking wave that flag until she fucking retires. I am a Lupe Godinez fan. She is a fucking excellent, well-rounded fighter. She's got 2 Olympic wrestler sisters that keep iron sharpening fucking iron. They say all the time they don't give her no fucking slack, so you know that she's working her downtime. Julia Pilastri is an interesting challenge. She's fairly well-rounded, just not the highest talent in my opinion, but it gives Lupe Godinez a good challenge after a little bit of time off to show what she's really been working on. And I'm excited to see that. I didn't think I was going to be, but I am curious. It might just be morbid curiosity. It might be because there could be potential fun fight there. Melkaziel Costa versus Christian Rodriguez, C-Rod versus the Dalmatian. It could be a really fun fight. It could be 15 minutes you'll never get back of your life. And I apologize in advance if that's what it is. But there is also equally a chance, in my opinion, that fight actually turns pretty interesting. Costa has been on an interesting little run lately, and he's been, if you follow his socials, he's been grinding, he's working, he's trying to polish up his fucking rough edges. So credit where credit is due there. Costa's actually trying to do the goddamn thing. And C-Rod is in a bit of a rough spot right now. He had a hell of a shiny fucking run for a minute. He's dealing with a couple of speed bumps. It's time to see how that's going to affect his career going forward. Can you pick yourself up by your fucking bootstraps after you fuck up and do the damn thing that got you to where you are? Or is that what's going to define you, that ass whooping? He's handed out some good ones, but the one that he took that put him on the little slump that he's on right now is kind of seems to be stuck in his head. And that does happen from time to time with fighters. Costa's not going to take it lightly to him. If you've watched any of Macaziel Costa's fights, that motherfucker switches on when the bell rings and he doesn't turn off until you put him to fucking sleep or the bell is over or you fucking tap. So dude's an Energizer bunny. Could be real interesting. I'm morbidly curious about Jose Medina. I don't think the fight is going to be spectacular, but he, for some reason, I've seen glimpses in him at some point. There could potentially be something there. Not enough for me to say, watch this fight, but I'm telling you, there's something in that kid. He could be fun if he really starts grinding. On the other hand, that Chairez versus Vergara fight, I'm telling you right now, that's front runner for a potential fight of the fucking night. Those two dudes definitely both want to fucking get at it, and they're both on your shield or with it kind of motherfuckers. Could be a real interesting fucking matchup. Ronaldo Rodriguez versus Kevin Borjas. Lazy Boy is kind of like quietly sneaking his way into the UFC. If you've seen any of his socials or you followed him for any significant amount of time, Rodriguez is an amazing fucking grappler and he's an amazing jiu-jitsu player, and he just hasn't quite figured out how to put that all together in the MMA world, in my opinion here. But if he can, boy, you better hold on to your fucking seats because that dude's about to be a big problem for everybody. I will say this. I don't like every fight on the main card, but every fight on the main card deserves to be there. And we don't always get that with the UFC. We kind of rarely get that with a fight night in particular. Every fight on this main card deserves to be there. Maybe not for the rankings, but for the relevance that it plays. Because as much as I don't want to say it, I'm going to say it because it is the fucking reality of it. If Raul Rojas Jr. comes out and just makes light work of Vince Morales, which is unfortunately a real possibility, they're going to put the rockets back to him again, and they're going to try and push him down everyone's fucking throats and run him to the top of the division once again. On the other hand, if Vince Morales can come out and just keep his fucking head and shut this kid down, he can end one of the biggest hype trains we have seen in a hot fucking minute. And I am crossing everything that I can fucking cross that he can do that. I don't give a shit. I'm a petty fucking man sometimes, and I don't fucking like Raul Rojas Jr. The fact that my boy has got beef with him in real life means it's extra fuck you, one from each side, motherfucker. I don't like you. I won't fucking root for you. I hope you get knocked the fuck out. That being said, fuck Joe Pyfer. I don't know if Kelvin Gastelum really has reinvented himself, but the undue hype that Joe Pyfer has managed to steam load up to this point makes me gag a little bit looking at his fucking profile picture. He might be the nicest dude in the fucking world, and I have no doubt about that, but I don't give a shit about him as a person. I'm here to talk about him as a fighter, and fuck Joe Pyfer. That dude is riding undue coattails right now because of a story he got through fucking Dana White's bullshit. The last time we saw that was with Themba Gorimbo, and look how that fucking played out. I'm hoping this is his Themba Gorimbo moment where his fucking hype train leaves him at the goddamn station and Kelvin Gastelum can use this dipshit to start some momentum and possibly put back his final fucking run, because Kelvin is no spring chicken either. And Kelvin's not going to be around for that much longer. If he realistically wants any chance to even look at or sniff that fucking gold one more time in his career, he's got to shut Joe Pyfer the fuck down. He can't wrestle fuck him. He can't take him to a 50-49 decision. He has to shut Joe Pyfer down. The Kelvin Gastelum that can do that was in there. We've seen it. That Izzy fight isn't in the Hall of Fame because it's a one-off. Kelvin has that in him. Whether he can pull that out this weekend against Joe Pyfer will make all the difference in what happens to Kelvin Gastelum going forward, in my opinion. TJ mentioned that co-main event. If Drew Dober is there, it will be an exciting fight. He is one of those guys that I love to use as an example, as a fighter who is allergic to boring fights. He breaks out with fuck punches, and it doesn't matter if they make sense or connect or not. He can't stand being in boring fights, and I fucking love that. Giga Chad Gaethje is what I have seen them calling him now, and I laugh my fucking ass off because it kind of fucking is. It kind of fucking works. But Drew Dober doesn't understand how to be in a boring fight, whether he's winning or fucking losing. So I will always watch Drew Dober fights. That co-main event's going to be fun one way or another. But like TJ mentioned, that main event has huge fucking mungus ramifications, no matter which way this comes down, because I don't see this being a boring 50-49 fucking decision between these two. Both of these dudes know what is at stake in this match. They have both seen that fucking belt. They know what winning against this other person can mean in their trial to get back to that fucking belt. And you know that both of them want it. There's no doubt in my mind that main event is going to be the one that they are going to have to compete against in all of the other fights to steal fight of the night, because neither one of these two understand how to quit either. You will have to kill or be killed in that main event as well. But there's a lot on this card that could absolutely be enjoyed. I'm not telling you got to sit down when the prelims start and not miss a beat, but I'm telling you there's plenty on this card. There's going to be enjoyment. There's going to be enjoyment for everybody that watches. Casual, hardcore, I don't care. You're going to have fun watching this card Saturday. So, with that being said, that'll bring us to the point where the only segment of the show we have that actually requires its own individual disclaimer. Tapology.com in no way, shape, or form supports, sponsors, or endorses the I'm No Joe podcast. Yet. That being said, Tapology.com does offer you the option to go onto their site, create a free account, and make fantasy-style MMA picks like we do here on the show. They even let you make groups. So we made one. We call it ImNoBookie, all one word, or group 965, however you need to find it. The group is open to the public. You are encouraged and welcome. Make yourself an account, join the group, and let us know who you are so that we can hold your picks accountable with our picks in a segment that we call Tapology with TJ.
Welcome back to the fucking shit show. I want to make this very clear that when I get dirty messages the day before a fight happens reminding me to put my picks in so you can beat me, make sure that you're telling me when the fights are happening when you do that. Just purely on the fact of I don't want to freak out in the middle of what the fuck I'm doing to go make sure my fucking picks are in when they really didn't have to be put in until the next day. Just want to make that very clear. Also, congratulations, Meter. You did beat me this week. You got one more pick correct than me. Well done. 8 of 13. So yes, you beat me. Caveat to that statement, though. I could not pull the decision out of my ass. Barely. I didn't get any fucking perfects. I had one semi-perfect. It was a rough fucking week for me. But as a whole, the group, we were about 50-50 on who was above 500. So as a whole, we'll call it, we were right at the 500 mark. Not the greatest, not the worst, but, it is what it is. Now, to take home that let's stomp on our dick, which is probably what I see Lucas talking about having drinks tonight, is because he knew this was coming. He slammed his dick out, ran it over with the fucking steamroller, backed back over it, and threw it back in his fucking pants like nothing had happened, tried to walk it off, and it fell out, and he tripped over it again. But that'll happen. Also, did you guys know Tapology is free? It's free to join. It's free to join our group. Group 965, ImNoBookie. However you want to look it up, it's up to you. Do the damn thing. Get with the program. Come join us. It's a blast. We're going to pat you on the back when you do well. And we're going to tell you when you ran over your dick with a steamroller and took that bottom spot. Now, with that being said here, we're going to move over to the Grand Prix because if I'm not mistaken, we only have 3 weeks left, I think, or 3 or 4 weeks. Let's see. Yeah, it's 3. Had to hop in there and check. We have 3 weeks. So we have this week, next week, which is UFC Fight Night Las Vegas. I forget which fucking UFC Fight Night number it is. At this point, I really don't fucking care. And then April 12th, 314. I stopped caring when they're every fucking week what number they are. It's just how that works. Now, here's some crazy news. Don has been playing on his River Tour 2 account, which unfortunately for some odd reason isn't in the group, but that's okay. But he's been murdering it. Last week, he was way up there as fucking well, which pushed him into the top spot in the fucking Grand Prix for the first time ever. It's fucking wild. It's so cool to see that. Tip of the cap down over there. His wife not far behind, sitting at 1735, whereas he is at 2015. Vinny's still sitting there in the 3rd spot at 1720. The meter is sitting in the 4th spot at 1645. Myself, I dropped all the way down to the 5th spot, and I was in the 2nd at one point in this fucking thing. I got 3 weeks to pull my shit together. So we got that going for us. Hello, Lucas. Even with having a fucking rough week there, still sitting in the 6th spot, not as bad as Christian sitting down in the 7th spot at 1385. He's gonna have to pull a miracle out of his ass to come back to win this Grand Prix. I don't know if it's possible with 3 weeks left, but we've seen Don shit the bed. But he's been shitting the bed a lot lately. To his credit, it's just been these last 2 weeks. His fucking picks have been on fucking point. So. Who knows? Maybe his long run of just shitting the bed is over and he's got it back together. And if that's the case, we should all be fearing for our lives. Because I do remember a point where it was always Don at the fucking top and we were constantly having to cuss about him. I kind of forgot about all that until recently. And now I'm going, fuck, do we really start having to worry again here? No. Come over, join us on Tapology. Let us know who you are. We'll get you an invite to the next Grand Prix that goes out because within a couple of weeks, we'll have a new Grand Prix after this one ends in April. So you got till then. Get yourself in. Let us know who you are. If you don't want to get picked on, don't let me know who your fucking username is by changing it from something we already recognize. If you do want to get picked on or pat on the back when you do well, let us know who you are, and we'll tell you when you're doing well. Remember, it's fucking free. I know you guys like free shit because you're watching us for free, either on YouTube or you're listening on your podcast consumption of choice platform. It doesn't fucking matter. You guys know who you are. That is unless you are one of our Patreon subscribers. Then at that point, we appreciate you donating, but Tapology is still free for you guys too. All right, moving on to this weekend's Mexico City card. Kind of a bummer as a follow-up to their really great fucking Mexican Independence Day card, but to their credit, Mexican Independence Day is not until September. So they have time to throw together one banger of a card 6 months from now. And to be honest, that September 16th date, I don't even know if that falls on a Saturday this year. I didn't even look at the calendar. I kind of hope it does. Let's take a quick peek. No, it falls on a Tuesday, which means they'll either do the Mexican Independence Day card on the 14th, or excuse me, the 13th or the 20th. I'm guessing the 13th, so it's prior to the Mexican Independence Day, so that way all the fighters that they have come in for it can get back home and party it up like rock stars. But kind of subpar card, but much better than the hangover bullshit we've been given lately. Now, all that being said, there are some wider odds on this card, which we will gladly take advantage of and talk about here. Again, I'm back to Caesars again because BetMGM, I really think they just stopped doing fucking at least putting them where I was finding them before. They just seem to be fucking gone. I haven't gone out and looked all that hard, to be honest. For there's But it doesn't matter because they're all generally within a couple of points of each other. Well, maybe next week I'll do DraftKings just for shits and giggles so everybody can see the differences. But start with some of the slightly wide odds on this here. I'm gonna start with the Kelvin Gastelum and Joe Pfeiffer. We've got Kelvin coming in as a plus 250 underdog. Joe Pfeiffer coming in as a minus 320 favorite. Not super wide, but they're fairly wide, right? Then another one that's gonna be fairly wide here is Gabriel Miranda and fucking Jamal Emmers. We got Emmers coming in as a minus 360 favorite, overly plus 280 in Gabriel Miranda. Not super wide, but kind of wide. And lady we were talking about earlier, Lupi Godinez, Julia Polostri. And we've got Julia coming in as a plus 230. Yeah, 230 underdog. And Lupi coming in as a minus 280 favorite. Not super wide, but they're fairly wide. And then you got CJ Vergara and Edgar Chairez. Chairez coming in as a minus 270 favorite. Vergara coming in as a plus 220 underdog. Not super wide. What's crazy about this card is there's a lot of these that are not super wide, but they're all pretty close in numbers. Now, I'm going to switch it up. We're going to go to a little bit wider odds here. And like I said, none of these are super fucking wide or egregious. So you're not going to get any crazy things here. We're going to hop over to the Simon Oliveira and David Martinez fight. Got Martinez coming in as a minus 420 favorite over Oliveira as a plus 320 underdog. Not super wide, but it's out there. Teba Gaudier and fucking Jose Daniel Medina. Got Ateba coming in as a minus 430. Jose coming in as a plus 335 underdog. Again, not super wide odds, but they're getting there. Hoffa Garcia and Vince Pichel fight. Like said earlier, Vince Pichel only known for one thing, and that's that giant caterpillar on his lip. Coming in as a plus 360 underdog. Hoffa Garcia coming in as a minus 480 favorite. Again, not super wide, but it's fucking there. The widest odds on the card is kind of shared with that, because that is the widest odds on the card, but it's also shared with one other fight, which is the Raul Rosas Jr. and Vince Morales fight. They've got Morales coming in as a plus 360 underdog as well, and Rosas coming in as a fucking minus 480 favorite. Not super wide, but it's there. But those two fights they co-own the highest or the widest odds on the card. Now, as we always do, co-main and main. Co-main, Drew Dober and Manuel Torres. Coin flip. Drew Dober minus 120. Manuel Torres a plus 100. Basically a fucking coin flip. The main event, Brandon Moreno and Steve Erceg. Steve Erceg coming in as a plus 200 underdog, and Brandon Moreno is a minus 240 favorite. Not super wide considering there's 6-spot difference in the rankings. I'm just saying, that does tell you something about Steve Erceg, though. For how very few fights he's had in the fucking UFC, I think Brandon Moreno's had as many fights for a title as Steve Erceg has had in the UFC at this point. So that tells you something about Steve Erceg when they think the fight odds are that fucking close for them. And that's all I got for this week. Hopefully next week we get some absolute fucking fireworks with a pay-per-view card coming up. And I mean, I doubt it because we got, like I said, it's 4 weeks of shit. It's, what is that fucking, you know what's wrong, but you do it anyways. That's what the UFC is doing right now. That can fit a lot of things. You just add your own personal touch to the front of it, and there you go.
Much appreciated, sir. Thank you very much. So that being said, that is pretty much all we have got for this particular episode. Generally, words hard. Try that again. Generally speaking, this would be the point where I tell you about the kid's other podcast that him and his other half do, but I'm not 100% sure what the hell's going on with that kid, so I don't know if they're going to do it tomorrow. But even if they don't, the link to their podcast and their socials are down in the description, so go check out a backlog if they don't do a new one tomorrow. It's still a good show to go check out, and they've even got their own channel over on the ImNoJoe Discord that you can go check out as well. But when that wraps up, brings us back around to the beginning of next week. Wednesday nights, 8:30-ish Central Standard Time over on the Golftee Vapes YouTube channel. The Foggy Fairway kicks off pretty much every Wednesday. You can come by, you can hang out, we can teach you a thing or two about mixing bathtub e-liquid. You can talk some shit, you can just shoot the breeze and watch us make fools of ourselves. It's all a good time, and the links to his channel as well as his socials are all down in the below as well.
Yes, sir. Now, since we have a not as lackluster of a card as we have had the last 2 weeks, you might have a little less free time than you did because there are a couple fights worth watching. With that free time, you should go over and see all of the many things that the meter does do by going down below, clicking on Linktree / the meter does many things, or Linktree / ImNoJoe to go see all of the many things the meter does do. So when you're going to watch the fights on Saturday and you see one of those fights that's absolutely garbage, go watch a good video instead. You'll be way more fucking entertained than some of the trash they're feeding this open card. Vince Michelle.
Much appreciated, sir. So that will do it for the show for this evening. If you like what we get up to around here, please make sure you give us a thumbs up. If you really like what we get up to around here, make sure you're subscribed no matter where you're picking this up. We try and do the show pretty much every Thursday night. There are fights to talk about. We do it live over on youtube.com/@ImNoJoe. If you miss it live, we do leave the replay up, but if you miss it live on purpose, I understand, because I also own a mirror. So for that very reason, the week after we go live, we put the all audio version out at anchor.fm/ImNoJoe. You can go over there, pick it up on your podcast consumption platform of choice, Google, Spotify, Apple, whatever you listen with. There's a link for it over there, and you can pick it up for there free as well. If you like what we do around here a whole lot, patreon.com/ImNoJoe is the best way to help. For as little as $1 a month, much as you want to give, you help us do what we do around here, and we genuinely appreciate it. To show that appreciation, the first thing you will see at the end of every broadcast on this channel is the list of patrons who help make this possible to do what we do, because they are badass. And on top of that, we also give you unfettered access to the behind the scenes and the unairable content that we've got that may or may not have gotten us kicked off of OnlyFans before. That was a cool thing to do, but we appreciate it just the same. And if you don't want to give a buck, no worries, we do the show for free pretty much every week just the same. You are welcome to it, and we hope you like it. On the other side of that coin, though, if you don't like it, first and foremost, what the fuck are you doing this deep into a podcast you didn't enjoy? Give it a thumbs down and go fuck yourself. We won't even dispute it. That being said, that's all we've got for this particular episode. So thank you again to everyone who tuned in. 3 more weeks left on the Grand Prix. There'll be a couple weeks after that, and then we will have a summer Grand Prix kicking off. So keep your eyes peeled for that. But until next time, boys and girls, don't let ignorance stop you. You can root for anything.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kicks were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening. How do I say goodbye to what we had? The good times that made us laugh.